Let me ask you, who's your favorite movie character? Really think about it. Are they a main protagonist, a supporting character, maybe an antagonist? Well, when it comes down to film, I have one all-time favorite character, and that would be Indiana Jones. Who is Indiana Jones? Never thought I'd have to answer this question, but there may be some people in the audience today that don't even know who this character is, so I guess I should elaborate. Indiana Jones is an archaeologist. Not any archaeologist, though. No. This is archaeology if you were to crank it up to 11, throw in some supernatural artifacts, maybe a couple Nazis to fight, and that's the kind of archaeology Indiana Jones does. Things get kind of a little crazy. Now, if you haven't seen any of the movies and what I said interests you, go ahead and make your way over to the Paramount Plus app or any pirating website of your choosing and sit down and give Indiana Jones 1, 2, 3, and 4 a good old watch. Now, like I said, Indiana Jones is my all-time favorite character, and for good reason. First off, he's just a cool person, and I'm not talking about the type of person who thinks they're cool and tries way too hard to act that way, like the kind of people who wind up in Instagram and TikTok cringe pages. No. Indiana Jones simply is just cool. That's his personality. He's confident, intelligent, very resourceful, and balancing all that out is a sarcastic attitude. Overall, these traits come together to make a character that is very likable, very cool, and it makes a character you can look up to the entire duration of the movie. Now, Indiana Jones may be cool, but it'd be a very short video if I just kept going on about how cool he is, and you can only say so much before you start repeating yourself. I'd like to move on to another aspect about Indy that I enjoy, and that's the fact that he's relatable. Let me clarify. Indiana Jones isn't an average Joe. He has a life unlike any other. He's an adventurer who risks his life to bring back lost artifacts. But even though this is his life, it doesn't make him any less human than you or I. He makes mistakes. For example, at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, when we're first introduced to Indy, we're shown just how well experienced he is. He can disarm a person with a bullwhip, he calls out every trap in the temple, but when he finally swaps out the sandbag for the idol, it turns out he misjudges the weight and the temple begins to collapse. This mistake is something that makes Jones relatable. It shows us that, although very skilled, is still human. Us humans, we make mistakes all the time. Sure, we don't make mistakes that may or may not put our lives at risk, but it's relatable nonetheless. It's important for an audience to be able to relate to the main character. It allows us to connect, maybe put ourselves in the shoes of our protagonist. Talking about this scene is a good transition to what I want to talk about next, and that's Indiana Jones' adaptability. Our boy Indiana Jones gets put into a lot of situations, and I would say the word adaptable is a good way to describe him. Now let's go back to right after the sandbag trick didn't work and the temple starts to collapse. Indy is quick on his feet, running through the arrow traps, narrowly dodging each one, and he runs all the way back to the chasm that he needs to swing across, but unfortunately his partner betrays him and leaves him for dead. With the temple door closing and no time to think, he jumps across the chasm where he grabs onto a vine coming out of the ground. And although the vine almost gives, Jones is able to pull himself to safety where he manages to get out of the temple, but not without being chased by a boulder. Dang, how many traps does this temple need? Jeez. Anyways, this scene is a good way to display how with changing situation, Jones is very quick to adapt. Indiana Jones' adaptability is a great provider for non-stop action. A character who takes too long to make a decision provides for not fast-paced action, and my brain can't handle any one moment that lasts longer than 5 seconds. Anyways, moving along, especially with how they wrote Indiana Jones and his action scenes, Jones isn't someone who just breezes through any obstacle like it's a Tuesday afternoon. Although Jones always ends up on top of every situation he finds himself in, he goes through the struggle of his life to get to the top. One of my favorite scenes in all of Indiana Jones is a great example of what I mean, the truck chase scene through the desert. In this scene, we see Jones take over the truck that is holding the Ark of the Covenant, only for the threat of soldiers climbing around from each side to arise. Jones ends up getting shot in the arm, but it doesn't stop him. He's able to shake the men off. But what's this? An unknown soldier swoops in from the top and gets the upper hand on him, throwing him out the front of the truck where he attempts to ram him into the car ahead. But quickly, Jones climbs his way under the truck where he's able to hook his whip and climb back up from the back, where he takes control again, putting the soldier in the same position he was. But the German soldier, he doesn't get out of it. This scene is fantastic and really demonstrates how much Indiana Jones struggles in his situations, and it actually gives another level of realism to the character, because like I said before, Jones is human, he isn't Superman, and seeing a character struggle to gain control feels way more earned and overall way more entertaining than someone with superhuman abilities making short work of any situation they get themselves into. It needs to feel real, and Indiana Jones does feel real.